Welcome to the new episode of Double Your Vocabulary, the podcast where we turn your everyday English into something truly special. I am Iris, and I am joined by my best friend Ernesto and our tiny mascot Spoty to help you navigate the world of travel.
We are so excited to be here with you today because we know how nerve-wracking it can be to walk into a foreign hotel and not know what to say. We are going to make sure you have all the right phrases to feel like a total pro from the moment you step into the lobby.
In this episode, we are going to walk through 3 different real-life situations that you will definitely encounter when you are checking into your room. We will focus on natural phrases that real people use every single day so you can avoid those awkward silences at the front desk.
Our goal is to give you the most helpful tools for your journey without all the boring stuff you find in old textbooks. Let's jump into the practice samples.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Sunset Coast Hotel and Resort. How can I assist you with your arrival today?
Hello there, I have a reservation under the name Ernesto Rodriguez for a 3-night stay. I believe I booked a room with a view of the ocean.
Let me pull that up in our system right now to see what we have for you. Yes, I see it here. You are confirmed for a deluxe king room on our executive floor.
That sounds wonderful, exactly what I was hoping for when I made the booking online. Is it possible to get 2 sets of keys since I will be sharing the room with a friend?
Absolutely, I can make those for you in just a moment. Before I finish the check-in process, I will need to see a valid ID and a credit card for incidental charges.
Sure thing, here is my passport and my travel credit card. Will there be a large temporary hold placed on my card as a security deposit?
It is just a standard $50 hold per night, which will be released once you leave. Also, please remember that your room rate includes a complimentary breakfast buffet from 7 to 10.
That is great to know because we definitely want to try the food here. Thank you for all your help getting us settled into our room. Hi, I know it is quite late, but do you happen to have any vacancy for tonight? I was traveling all day, and my original plans fell through at the last minute.
I am so sorry to hear that. Let me check our current availability to see if we can help you out. We do have 1 suite left, but I should mention that it is a little pricey because it is our honeymoon unit.
At this point, I am happy to take anything just to get some rest. Does that room come with any special amenities like a gym or a pool access?
Yes, you will have full access to our 24-hour fitness center and the heated rooftop pool. The standard rate for that room is $300 per night plus tax.
That is fine, I will take it for 1 night. What is the latest possible checkout time I can request for tomorrow morning?
Our normal time is 11, but for this suite, we can offer a late checkout at 1 in the afternoon. I will just need you to sign this registration form right here. Welcome to the Pet Palace Inn. How can I help you today? I see you have a very cute little friend with you.
Thank you, this is Spoty, and we are checking in for the weekend. I wanted to double-check if your hotel is truly pet-friendly and if there are any extra fees.
We love dogs here, so Spoty is more than welcome. We just ask that you never leave him unattended in the room and that he stays on a leash in the hallway.
That is very reasonable, and we will make sure he follows all the rules. Is there a specific area outside where I can take him for his morning walks?
There is a lovely park right behind the building. Also, please use the Do Not Disturb sign if he is napping so housekeeping does not startle him.
That is a great tip. I will put the sign on the door right away. Where can I find the password for the guest Wi-Fi for my laptop?
It is printed clearly on the inside of your keycard sleeve for your convenience. If you have any trouble connecting, just dial 0 from your room phone.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome for both me and Spoty. We are really looking forward to a relaxing weekend at your hotel.
I really enjoyed those practice samples because they cover so many situations that happen when you travel. Let's talk about some of the phrases we used and why they are so useful for your vocabulary.
The first thing that stood out to me was using the phrase under the name when talking about your reservation. It is the fastest way to help the clerk find your information in their computer system.
Exactly, it is much better than just saying my name is Ernesto. It tells the staff exactly which list they need to look at to find your booking.
We also use the term deluxe king room. In the hotel world, this is a very specific way to describe a large bed in a high-quality room.
Most hotels have different categories like standard, deluxe, or executive. Knowing these words helps you understand exactly what you're paying for when you check in.
I think the most important phrase for people to learn is incidental charges. It sounds a bit scary, but it just means the extra things you might spend money on.
That includes things like taking a snack from the minibar or using the paid laundry service. It is why hotels ask for your credit card even if you already paid for the room.
And that leads us to the security deposit. This is just a temporary payment that makes sure the hotel is covered if anything gets broken.
You will always get that money back after you leave as long as the room is in good shape. It is a standard part of the process in almost every country.
I also love the word complimentary. It is a fancy way of saying something is completely free for the guests to use.
Who doesn't love free things? Whether it is a complimentary breakfast or complimentary water bottles, it is a word you always want to hear.
In the second sample, we mentioned having a vacancy. This is the perfect word to use when you are looking for a room but do not have a booking yet.
If you see a sign outside a hotel that says no vacancy, it means they are completely full. It saves you a lot of time if you check the sign before going inside.
We also use the word pricey. This is a very common, friendly way to say that something is expensive without sounding too formal.
It is a great word for everyday conversation. If a room cost is too high for your budget, you can say it is a bit pricey for you.
Then we talked about a late checkout. This is a lifesaver when you have a late flight and want to stay in your room a few hours longer.
Most hotels are happy to give you an extra hour or two if you ask politely. Sometimes they charge a small fee, but often it is free if they are not busy.
In our third situation with Spoty, we use the term pet-friendly. This is essential for animal lovers because not all hotels allow pets to stay in the rooms.
It is always best to double-check this before you arrive so you don't have any surprises. You should also ask about the leash rules so your pet stays safe in the lobby.
We also mentioned the Do Not Disturb sign. This is the little card you hang on your door handle so the cleaning staff knows to stay out.
And finally, we talked about the key card sleeve. This is the small paper pocket that holds your room keys and usually has your room number written on it.
It is also where many hotels print their Wi-Fi passwords and other useful info. Using these real-life phrases will help you navigate your next hotel stay with total ease.
Thinking back to that first simulation, the way you said the reservation was under the name Ernesto was such a smart move for a traveler.
It really is, because instead of just stating my identity, I am pointing the clerk directly to their digital records to save time.
It acts as a verbal shortcut that signals you know how the system works, which usually gets you much faster service at the desk.
Exactly, and notice how the clerk responded by saying she would pull that up on her screen to find the specific booking details.
That phrase "pull that up" is something we use constantly in American offices when we need to find a file or a document.
It sounds way more natural than saying I will search for it or I will find it in the computer database during a conversation.
We also heard the term incidental charges, which most people find a little confusing the first time they hear it in a hotel lobby.
Think of it as the catch-all category for anything extra you buy, like a late-night snack or a movie you order on the television.
It is why they need that security deposit on your card, just to make sure those small extra costs are covered before you leave.
And while those charges cost money, we also talked about things being complimentary, which is a word every traveler loves to hear.
If the coffee in the lobby is complimentary, you can drink as much as you want without worrying about the final bill at checkout.
I love how that word makes a hotel feel more high-end, even if they are just talking about basic things like bottled water.
In the second simulation, you mentioned your original plans had to fall through at the last minute, which is why you needed a room.
We use fall through whenever a plan or a deal fails to happen, usually because of something outside of our own personal control.
It creates a bit of sympathy with the listener, which is probably why the clerk was so helpful in finding you that last suite.
Even though that suite was a bit pricey, I was just relieved to have a place to sleep after a very long day of traveling.
Using the word pricey is a great way to describe a high cost without sounding like you are complaining or being too negative.
It is much softer than saying expensive, and it fits perfectly in casual conversations about everything from dinners to new clothes.
Now, let's see how these phrases work when you are not at a hotel, because they are incredibly versatile for your daily life.
Let's start with under the name, which you will need every single time you go to a busy restaurant for a dinner reservation.
When you walk up to the host stand, you can just say, I have a table for 4 under the name Iris for 7 o'clock.
You can also use it at the doctor's office or when you're picking up a package that someone else sent to you at work.
It is a standard way to identify a specific file or booking in any professional setting where they manage lists of people.
Then we have the phrase pull that up, which is the ultimate office vocabulary for anyone working on a computer these days.
If a coworker asks you about a specific project, you can say, let me pull that up on my second monitor so we can look.
It implies a quick, easy action, like you are just grabbing the information from the digital cloud to show it to them immediately.
I also use it when I am out with friends, and I want to show them a funny video I saw on my phone earlier.
What about complimentary? I see this one used a lot in business settings, especially when a company is trying to impress a client.
A tech company might offer a complimentary consultation to show you how their software works before you decide to buy the full version.
It is also common at events where you might get a complimentary drink ticket or a gift bag just for showing up early.
It sounds much more professional and generous than simply calling it free, which can sometimes make a product sound cheap or low quality.
We should also talk about how to use pricey when you are out shopping with your friends or looking at new apartments.
If your friend shows you a pair of designer shoes, you might say those are beautiful, but they look a little pricey for me.
It helps you decline an expensive option without making the situation awkward or sounding like you are judging the other person's budget.
And finally, let's look at getting settled in, which we used when talking about arriving at the hotel and unpacking our suitcases.
This is perfect for when you start a new job and your boss asks how you are doing after your first week in the office.
You can reply that you are still getting settled in and learning where everything is, which shows you are making an active effort.
It is all about the process of becoming comfortable and organized in a new environment, whether it is a room or a career.
One thing I noticed is how we can change our tone to sound more relaxed or more polite, depending on the situation we are in.
In the simulations, you used phrases like "do you happen to have any vacancy" to sound a bit more indirect and polite to the clerk.
Using "do you happen to have" is a classic way to soften a question, so it does not sound like a direct demand.
A more relaxed version would be just asking "do you have any rooms left," which is fine, but sounds a bit more rushed.
When you want to sound more polite, adding little phrases like "I was wondering if" or "is it possible" to makes a huge difference.
For example, instead of saying "I want a late checkout," you can say "I was wondering if I could request a late checkout."
It gives the other person space to say no if they are busy, which actually makes them more likely to want to help you.
On the other hand, being direct and relaxed is great when you're talking to someone you already have a good relationship with.
If I am asking you to find a document, I might just say, hey Ernesto, can you pull that up for me real quick?
Exactly, because we are friends, you do not need to use the extra polite language that you would use with a stranger at a desk.
It is also about how we use the word pricey versus saying something is flat out expensive when we are sharing our opinions.
Saying something is pricey feels like a personal observation, while saying it is expensive can sound more like a harsh criticism of a business.
If you are at a local cafe, you might tell a friend the coffee is a bit pricey here, but the atmosphere is worth the extra cost.
That is a perfect example of how choosing the right word helps you sound more like a native speaker who understands social nuances.
We also saw how being polite involves using full terms like incidental charges, instead of just saying the extra stuff I bought.
When you use the professional terms, the staff at the hotel treats you with more respect because you are speaking their language.
The same applies to using the term amenities when you are asking about the gym or the pool at a luxury resort.
It sounds much more sophisticated than just asking "what else do you have here for me to use during my stay?"
And when you are dealing with your pet like Spoty, asking about the pet friendly rules shows that you are a responsible guest.
It is all about using the right level of language to match the environment you are in at that specific moment.
Whether you are being polite at the front desk or relaxed with a friend, these phrases are your best tools for clear communication.
I think that wraps up our deeper look at the vocabulary from our hotel check in Adventures Today.
Before we finish, I want to put you on the spot with 3 rapid-fire mini simulations based on what we have covered today. Are you ready for some high-pressure situations?
I am absolutely ready for it. Bring on the first scenario, and let's see how we can handle it with the best English possible.
Okay, here is scenario 1. You arrive at the hotel after a long flight, but the clerk says your room will not be ready for another 3 hours. How do you respond without getting angry?
I would say, oh, that is a bit of an inconvenience. Is there any way I could leave my luggage at the front desk while I wait for the room to be ready?
Using the word inconvenience is perfect because it sounds calm, but still shows you are not happy about the delay. What if you wanted to ask for something extra to make up for the wait?
I might ask, since the room is delayed, do you happen to have a complimentary coffee voucher or a place where I can sit and do some work in the meantime?
Great use of complimentary there. Now, scenario 2. You are starving and you want a local food recommendation that is not too pricey. What do you ask the clerk?
I would say I am looking for a good dinner spot nearby that is not too pricey. Do you have a personal favorite hidden gem that locals usually go to?
Hidden gem is a fantastic phrase. It makes the clerk feel like they are sharing a secret with you, which usually leads to a much better restaurant choice than a tourist trap.
It also builds that friendly connection we talked about earlier. People love being the expert and giving advice on their favorite local spots.
Last scenario. Something came up and you have to leave a day earlier than planned. You need to check out early and you are hoping not to pay for the final night.
This is a tough one. I would say, I am so sorry, but an emergency came up and I need to head home today. Is there any way we can waive the fee for the final night?
Waive the fee is a very professional way to ask for a discount or a cancellation. It sounds much better than just asking for your money back.
Exactly. It shows you understand the policy exists, but you are asking for a special exception because of your specific situation.
Those were great responses. Now, let's transition into our drive-through recap for the listeners who want the quick highlights from today's episode.
Our first high-value tip is to always say your reservation is under the name followed by your last name. It makes the digital search much faster for the staff.
Second, remember that pull that up is the standard way to talk about finding files on a computer, whether you are at a hotel or in a business meeting.
And third, use the word pricey when you want to describe something expensive in a polite, conversational way that does not sound like a complaint.
Also, do not forget that incidental charges are the extra things you buy, while complimentary items are the ones you get for free. Knowing the difference saves you a lot of confusion.
And finally, if you want to be extra polite, use phrases like "I was wondering if" or "do you happen to have" to soften your requests at the desk.
That is a lot of great information packed into one episode. I hope everyone feels more confident for their next trip or office meeting.
It was a pleasure sharing these tips. Language is all about these small shifts in vocabulary that make a massive difference in how people perceive you.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Double Your Vocabulary. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of hotels and professional English.
Thank you for listening to us today. Keep practicing those phrases in your daily life until they feel completely natural to you.
Make sure to subscribe to the podcast and hit the bell for more episodes. We will see you next time for more English tips and tricks.